G'day, I'm Burdon. I recently started working at Castech Rural Supplies. I'm a qualified butcher, and on this episode of Keep the Weekly, I'm just going to show you a few tips on how to cut up a lamb. We're going to have 3 videos. So in this first video, I'm going to show you how to section the lamb and cut up the legs. First of all, I'm going to start off with a full lamb. I like to break them into 3 sections, being the legs, the loins, and your shoulder. And when you start off, it's easiest to start off with the legs. Just look for the pin bone, press in there with your thumb on the pin bone, and make 1 cut through there to the backbone. So I like to make a good incision through there. Then just with your bandsaw, it's just a matter of just cutting through. And there's your legs, your leg section. Now the next section you like to cut is just through your forequarters. So generally you like to just come back a little bit from your shank, so you got a nice length on your loins. Then just with a little hand saw, just cut straight through. So now we've got our 3 sections, our forequarter chops, our loin, and our legs. So I like to just make them nice and small to handle on the bandsaw. We've got our little meat saw here. The first thing I like to cut up is the legs. So we're just going to split the legs in half. So I just split it straight down the middle in line with the legs. Nice and easy. Just another little tip, if you take this little tailbone out on the saw, it makes it a lot easier to carve your leg of lamb up when you're having a Sunday roast. So with a bit of trimming, all I do is just take the bit of the flap that's left off there and that little bit of fat out in the middle. So it's just a matter of just trimming down through there, following that bone, and then you just take that off. That's just a little bit of trim there. If you'd like to take chump chops off, it's just a matter of just making a cut through here in line with your pelvis bone, just through there like that. Turn the leg over, straight through, and then it's just 1 cut on the saw straight through there on your bone. And then you can cut your other leg in half down through here. Now to joint your leg of lamb, I usually just cut the little bit of the ankle joint off, shank joint, and then just cut halfway through there and your other leg will fold. When I'm cutting on the saw, always keep your hands flat and straight, so you're not having any fingers in on the blade. It's just a safety tip. So when you joint your leg of lamb, you don't want to cut all the way through. You just want to go through till you cut the bone. Then you can just fold him underneath like that, and he fits in your roast tray, nice and flush. Okay, so now we move on to our chump chops. This is just it's basically the same cut as your rump steak off your beast, just on the lamb. All I do there is just mark through on your chump, just the thickness of the chops that you'd like. General rule, I just like a thumb thickness, good thumb thickness for your chop. The reason I mark them through, you mark them through with your knife. When you cut them on the saw, you're not left with any bone dust from your bone. Just makes a nicer chop. There's your nice chump chops. Beautiful. So now I'm going to bone this leg of lamb just to make a boneless leg of lamb. So once again, just take that flap area off and that little bit of fat off the chump end. Oh, sorry. Just cut down through there. Just come around there. That's just a bit of an offcut. Okay, now with our chump, we want to take this tailbone out. You can either do it on the saw, or if you just follow that little bone down through there, you come in and go down under the bone and then around to the tail. Pull him up, here and crack, we turn him round and just cut straight through. That will come off. And that's just the cut I made on the saw before, just taking that little bit of tailbone out. Okay, now to bone the leg of lamb, I'll normally start at the knee bit, the knee section, cut down through there, cut through the back end of the shank, clear that off, and then I just turn my knife around, just cut through there. You want to clear all that meat away from the bone. And just cut back up to the knee joint. So now what we want to get up to that knee joint and cut around the top of the knee, just to clear all that meat away. And then I'll turn the leg back over and do the same on the other side. And then we should be able to just free all that meat up, and then just with the back end of your knife, just scrape all that away. And the same inside. You'll see why I do that in a minute. I'll show you why. Okay, so now we need to take the hip bone out. So we just come along that bone, come down to the joint. There's a joint in the middle there, the socket. That will just peel away. And then we just come underneath. And we'll come back underneath this bone there. Turn him around. So you see, I just want to get into that socket joint in there and just clear that hip bone out. And that all comes out. It's fairly straightforward once you've done a few. Cut down through here. Just follow that bone, your knife will tell you where to go. And you've got him all out like that. Now we're left with just this bone in the middle we want to take out. So this is a process called tunnel boning. So we just come back up to the ball joint and we just clear that meat away like we did on the other side. Make a cut in there, down through there. And just clear all that meat away. And then we should be able to grab the shank end, twist it, put our hand on the leg, twist him. You'll feel it all pull away. And then we should be able to just pull that bone straight out, like that. That's how you tunnel bone a leg of lamb. So now we can get some string and roll him all up. And once it's roasted or cooked up, you can just slice it straight out and it's just all pure meat.